Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is break down social, psychological, and coaching related topics in audio format for your benefit. We try and do that as often as we can. We've got over 400 of them available for you to check out on a variety of topics. If you are looking for a business relationship or life coaching or entertainment coaching for that matter, certainly feel free to reach out. There's two ways to do that on Twitter at PO Perception, or you can do it through this YouTube page. The About Me section has my website, and you can go there, check that out. In any event, we're going to talk today about someone who's not ready for a relationship. 5 signs you're dealing with someone who isn't ready. I can honestly say, and it doesn't make me popular, but I'd rather be helpful than popular, that approximately 10 to 20% of people that I deal with are ready for a healthy, meaningful relationship, and they're fully ready to move forward and allow someone in their life in the fullness in which they want a partner. The other 80%, 90% are struggling because they're either stuck in the past or stuck in negative relationship patterns, unrealistic expectations, and or any other number of things. The sample size I have with that is about 15,000 people across nearly 4 dozen countries. So I'm pretty confident in those numbers. In any event, there are ways to know if a person that you're dealing with doesn't or isn't ready for the level of relationship you are. Number one, if they admit to or you find out they're dating multiple people. Unless you're in a situation where you're open to a polyamorous relationship, and those are becoming more and more common as time goes by, especially in the last 10 to 20 years, then if you haven't had that conversation or you're not comfortable with that type of relationship, if a person is dating multiple people at once, it's that most often they're looking for a feeling, not a connection. And so, if you are trying to deal with a person that's looking for a feeling and not a connection, and you're looking for a connection, you're going to feel rejected. You're also going to naturally try to go and try and convert them to your way of thinking, which very rarely works. It might work, let's say 30 to 40% of the time, but still, it's more likely not to work because if a person's looking for an emotional state rather than a connection, it's easier to find the emotional state with more than one partner or multiple partners or whatever have you than it is to actually fight through the idea of developing a more meaningful relationship. The next is if they're focused on talking about their ex a lot or previous relationships in general. My partner and I used to do this, my partner and I used to do that. She always did this, he always did that, he never did this, she never did that. And you have the bookend relationship where there's all the blame game from the past, and the other side of that is they aren't taking virtually any um, responsibility for their own involvement in the reason the relationship doesn't work. If a person insists on talking about their past relationships, that's fine as long as they're willing to talk about their reasons for the relationship falling short, because there's no such thing as a one-sided failure relationship. Even if it's I held on to someone who wasn't healthy for me, wishing they would change, the other person has at least some culpability in that situation. The next is they don't have deep conversations. So a person who isn't ready for a serious relationship or a committed relationship is a person who tries to keep things about the surface. Obviously, on the first few dates, most people will keep things at a reasonable surface level. They'll talk about music, they'll talk about, their favorite foods, they'll talk about life experiences, maybe where they've traveled, and things that aren't too heavy. But if you're 3, 4, 5 or more dates in, and you're not getting anywhere towards a more meaningful conversation about what you want for the future or how you feel about certain social issues or what your ideal relationship looks like or is, then chances are that person is just trying to have company and companionship and not really looking for a level of connection. The next is really simple, but it goes overstated. If the person's canceling plans with you a lot, and canceling plans can be something as simple as a conversation, a phone call, Skype texting, or Skype meeting, or an in person date. One cancel, not a big deal. Two cancels, not really a big deal. When you get to 3 and more, and it's a pattern in a short period of time, then you're looking at two things. Number one, is this person really interested in me? And number two, is this person really interested, or do they have the time or energy or willingness to put time into the type of relationship I want? And then the last one, which is equally impactful, although something a lot of people don't think about, is the absence of progress towards figuring out what the relationship's going to become. So it's perfectly fine for the first, even sometimes for some people, a few months. I often tell people don't get serious with someone for at least a year because you don't know their cycle. You don't know if the holidays are going to bother them, or their birthday bothers them, or the anniversary of someone's death bothers them. So, really, in an ideal situation, before planning a permanent future, being involved for a year would be advisable, and unfortunately, most of society doesn't do that. But if you're not seeing progress towards, kind of having the conversations about what would it even look like, definitely worth taking a peek at why you're there in the connection. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.